Hi there, and welcome to the channel. Today, I'm excited to share with you a complete tour of my Notion travel planner, a powerful tool that will help you organize and streamline all your travel plans. Whether you're planning a quick weekend getaway or a month-long adventure, this Notion travel planner is going to be your new best friend. It's packed with everything you need to stay organized, save money, and make the most of your trips. In this video, I'll walk you through each feature so you can see just how easy and fun it is to plan your trips with Notion. If you're looking to simplify your travel planning and stay on top of all the details, you're in the right place. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfy, and let's dive in. Let's start with the main dashboard of the template. On the left here, we have our navigation that contains all the pages and databases in this template. So be careful not to delete anything. In the middle here, we have all the current trips where you can find your trips that are in progress. This shows the dates of your trip, and when the trip is in progress, it will show this. Have a wonderful trip. Here, you can choose what type of trip it is, like a family trip or business trip. Once your trip is over, just change its status from in progress to completed. The next tab here will show your upcoming trips. The only difference here is that there will be a countdown that shows you the number of days remaining until your trip. On the right here, we have a map. It's useful for searching places without needing to switch to Google Maps because you have your very own map right here. You can change this map to whatever location you want. Just go to Google Maps and zoom in on your desired area. Copy the link at the top and paste it in here. Now let's move on to the first page on the navigation, the trips. Take note that this button is found on all pages in the navigation, which makes it easier for you to go back to the home dashboard. On the left, we have another map, and over here, we have all current and potential trips. The current trips include both in-progress and upcoming trips, with the in-progress trips listed first, sorted by date in ascending order. Under potential trips are trips that are not yet planned nor confirmed. One feature that really stands out here is this property. When the trip status says potential, it will tell you to start planning, but when you change the status to upcoming, it will show the amount of days to go before your trip. To show you how this works, let's change the date to today. Before and on the day of your trip, it will change to this. When it's in progress, the message will change again, and when the status of the trip is completed, it will say this. Let's go to a completed trip and see how the template looks. When it opens up, all the related information, including flight details, cities, accommodations, places and experiences, food, itinerary, budget, journal, and memories. I'm just showing you what's on the trip page now, but I'll explain in detail how it works at the end of the video. For now, let's finish the template tour. Now, let's go to the countries page. On this page, you'll find another map which you can use to see all the countries clearly by zooming in and out and moving around. Below, we have the countries grouped by their respected continents. When opening up this page for the first time, your page might look like this. So just click on these arrows and your page will look much cleaner. Do the same thing to open it again. These numbers over here indicate the amount of countries that are listed under each continent. Africa, Asia, and Europe have over 100 countries altogether, so I've decided just to add the top 20 countries of each continent. As you can see that these numbers are not exactly 20, because there are some countries that share continents. However, the remaining 4 continents have all their countries listed. Bear in mind that I got this list from ChatGPT, so if your country is not found in this list, I apologize in advance, but it's really easy to add, so I'll show you how to do it at the end of the video. Here's the bucket list, which includes all the countries you wish to visit. To add a country, go to All Countries, open the desired country, and change its status to bucket list or another status. On the countries page, the last tab shows all the countries you visited. Clicking on the country reveals all related information. As you scroll down, you'll find details similar to the trip page, including trips, cities, places and experiences, food, and accommodations, essentially an album of everything you've done there. I'll give a detailed walkthrough of this page and the trips at the end of the video. Back to the navigation, remember how the countries page has a bucket list and a visited tab? Well, these pages here are just for your bucket list items and places you've visited. If you click on cities, places and experiences, accommodation, or food, you'll see the same layout. Just add things to your bucket list here, and the visited tabs will automatically fill in when you enter trip details. I hope you guys understood that, and if you didn't, I apologize for the complicated explanation. Now, let's move on. The next page is the travel budget page. You don't need to do anything here since it's linked to your trips. This page shows all your trip budgets, helping you identify areas for improvement. The price next to the trip name is the total amount spent on the trip. Each budget is listed under its respective trip, so you can just click the arrow here to open the budget. Below, you'll see your budget and actual spending amounts summed up, helping you identify if you've saved or overspent on a trip. Next, we have the memories. When added, it will show up like this, grouped by the trip. This just shows a gallery view of all the memories you've made on all your trips. Once you add it on your trip page, it will automatically show up here, so you don't have to do anything here. Next, we have the travel journal. All journal entries made on your trips will show up here. It will be grouped by the trips again. These last two pages on the navigation are different from the other pages because they rarely change from trip to trip. These include packing lists and important documents. Instead of creating a new list for each trip, you can use a default list and make small adjustments as needed. So here's just a basic packing list grouped in these categories. These numbers here are the amount of items under that category. When you open it, you'll see all the items, and you can add a quantity too if you like. On the left, there's a checkbox to mark items as packed, and the bottom shows the total number of items checked off. Next, we have the important documents. Again, there are checkboxes on the left with a count at the bottom. The actual document or file is located here next to the name. Now that we've covered all the navigation pages, I'll show you how to customize this template to suit your needs. After that, I'll give a detailed run through of how to add a country and a trip. So, don't forget to follow these steps before using the planner. Firstly, go to the countries. If you search for a country here, you will see these numbers change. So whatever continent shows a number higher than 0, your result is under that continent. When finding your favorite countries, add them to your bucket list, and it will show up in your bucket list here. This way, it will be easier to find once you actually plan a trip. If you search and your desired country is not found, then add it to its respected continent by following these steps. Open the continent in which the country is situated, then click the plus to add the country. Erase this text and add the name of the country. Then click on this icon and go to emojis to search for the country flag. Lastly, go here to change cover. You can either upload from your device or an image link from Google, or use this free image library. Now, I'll add this to my bucket list, and it will show under the continent as well as my bucket list. Next, go to the cities and towns page. You can easily add a new record here. Just change the name, fill in all the details, and change the cover if you want to. As you can see, it groups the cities by their respective countries in your bucket list. It's the same process for the other pages, so you can do the exact same to the bucket lists on the places, accommodation, and food pages. You can choose to edit your bucket lists when you receive the template or when you add a trip. It's completely up to you. Now that we have completed the bucket lists, let's continue to the packing list and important documents. Next, go to the packing list. All basic items have been added, so you can just customize it by adding more items in the respected categories. If you want to delete an item, just hover here on the side, click on the block, and click here to delete. Lastly, go to the important documents and add documents like your ID, passport, etc. The basic documents have been listed, so you can just delete whatever you don't need or just rename it like this. To add the document, just click and upload from your device or via a link. Now that you have completed customizing your travel planner, let's do a walkthrough on how to add a trip. Go to the trip page and add the trip here. Remember that current means both upcoming and in progress trips. You can choose to add a new trip here, or on the main dashboard, but it's completely up to you. So, for this example, let's add an upcoming trip. Click New and expand the page here. When adding a trip, the first thing you do is fill in these details. Give your trip a name and change the cover image. You can even change this emoji here to whatever you want. Over here we fill in the basic information. Make sure the status is what you want it to be. Here you should just pick any of the options relating to your trip. Next, add a country. For this, I'll add a country that's not on the list to show you how to add it directly from the trip. Type the name of the country correctly. Click this button here to add, then click here to open it up. Then you should just add it the way I showed you earlier in the video. Next, you should add your dates. Pick your starting date and click here to add an end date. Below will show you the length of your trip and the number of days to go until your trip. If you go back, you will see that you successfully created a trip. Now, let's continue filling in the rest of the information. So when we click on the trip, it basically opens up a dashboard where you can manage your trip. For example, if you are on a trip and you want to add stuff to your travel budget, you don't need to go to the navigation to do it. Just go to the trip and you will find everything related to that trip. Quick tip: if you don't feel like scrolling, use this panel on the right to navigate your way. If you don't have this enabled, just click on these three dots and make sure Table of Contents is on. Here, we have these links that give us a brief overview of everything we've entered on this trip, and they show the number of things we added within each category. It's empty now, but as soon as we add things, they will show up. Below, you will find a more in-depth view of these links. If you have added anything to your bucket list that you are going to do on this trip, click on any of these links here and search for the item on your bucket list. For example, I added Venice to my bucket list, so it won't show up here by cities because items on the bucket list don't show up here on this page. Remember, if you want to add items from the bucket list, do so from here. And if you want to add new items, do so directly in their respective sections. So just click on wherever your item is, search for it, and click twice on the name. When it opens up, change the status and make sure the country is added. As you can see below, it is now showing under the cities and towns section. Remember, this applies to all things you have added to any of your bucket lists. On the left, we have the flight details, where you can input your outbound and inbound flight details. Here, you can add any important document, such as your flight confirmation, so that you know it's somewhere safe. On the right, we have a quick to-do list. The packing list and important documents are placed right here for easy access. These two are just links to these pages on the navigation on the home dashboard because for every trip, your packing list and your important documents list are basically the same, so there's no need to repeat them for each trip. All you're doing is just making tweaks to it for each trip. Right here, we have another map, like on the home dashboard. Like I said before, if you want to change it, go to Google Maps, zoom in on the area, copy the link at the top, and paste it here. This is where it gets exciting because from here on, you start bringing your trip to life by planning and adding all the places you will visit. This is where you will add all the cities and towns you're going to visit. As you can see, Venice is here because we added it from the bucket list. Let's add another city from scratch. Let's go with Rome. You know the drill already, so I'll just do it quickly. Once you have visited that place, you can just click here and change the status to visited, and it will show up here in the visited tab. This concept also applies to the upcoming sections on this page. This is where you will add your accommodations during your trip. When adding a new accommodation, it will open up and show all the accommodation details you need to fill in. When inserting the dates here, don't forget to add an end date. After adding the dates, below it will show the number of days your stay is. When you insert the cost per night here, it will multiply by the number of days automatically to show the total cost of your stay. The rest are just basic things you need to fill in regarding your booking. Remember to always include the country and city when adding anything to maintain proper grouping in your travel planner. As you can see when we close it up, it has been successfully added. On the card, it shows the city or town it is located in, the dates of the stay, and the full cost of your stay at the accommodation. Once your stay has concluded, you can just change this to visited and it will show up here. There's something important I'd like to mention, so open the accommodation again. As you can see, the currency here is in South African rands. If you use another currency, you will have to change it manually because this is the default currency for this template. Just go to the price here and don't click on the actual price. Click on the name until this pops up. Go to Edit Property, then click here on Number Format and search for your currency and select it. As you can see, the currency has changed, but the total cost is still in rands. Unfortunately, you will have to do this every time you see a price in this travel planner. I apologize for the inconvenience. Next, we should add the places and experiences. Because we are going to Italy, we'll add the Colosseum in Rome and the boat ride in Venice. Remember to take advantage of the location URL so you can easily find the place during your trip without having to search for it on the go. Now we've arrived at the best part, the food. So there's a few items on the bucket list, so I'll just scroll up and add them from here. Great. Now that my bucket list items have been added, let's add more items here. So I'll just add the name, cover photo, and country. If I find the recipe while on my trip, I'll just add it here below, or the recipe URL here. Next, we have the itinerary. Take note that this only goes up to 10 days, but if you want to add more days, you can just go here and add more days. As you can see, when I add day 11, it moves here. Just drag it in the correct order. Let's add a few items to see how it will look. Just add the name, the amount of money you will be spending, and the date. When adding the date, be sure to include the time, as everything in the itinerary is sorted by both date and time. Make sure the include time option is on and go up here to add the time. When you have completed a task on the itinerary, just click Done. I'll add another item so you can see how it works. At the top of each day, we have the total amount of money spent on that day, which becomes very handy when handling your trip budget. When we move on to expenses, you'll see the same items I added to the itinerary. It just shows the itinerary in table form, making it easier for us to see our expenses from the itinerary clearly. At the bottom, you'll see the total amount spent for all days on the itinerary. Remember to add categories to help you easily track your spending. Below, we have the trip budget, which makes it easier for you to manage your finances on your trip. This is different from the expenses above because this is a budget for the entire trip, including itinerary expenses, flights, accommodation, etc. So, let's add an example. Add the name of your expense here, and the date is optional. The expense type here is the same as the categories above in the itinerary, and here you can add your payment method too. In the budget column, you enter the amount you wish to spend, and in the next column, you enter the amount you actually spent. At the bottom of the two columns, you'll see all the amounts added up, making it easier for you to determine whether you've stayed within your budget or not. Here we have the journal entries. If you love writing, it's a great way to document your trip and cherish your memories. So just add new and fill in your details. Then add an image here. You can upload from your device, but I'll add a link for this example. I'll just go to Pinterest. Make sure to right-click and always click image address when using images. Otherwise, it won't work. Paste the link and your image will appear on the card. The last item we have here is the memories. This is great for keeping track of your favorite moments on your trip. So when you're feeling nostalgic, you don't have to dive deep into your gallery because you have a small album here with all your favorite memories. When adding a new memory, you basically go through the same process as when adding a journal entry. Just add the name, image, date, and city. Now that I've shown you how to add everything, you are now ready to add your own trips. Before I end this video, I'll show you what a completed trip looks like. As you can see, the trip has been successfully completed. When opening, you can see all the trip details have been filled in, and I even changed the map here. Here are the cities, and below you'll see everything under the visited tab. Under accommodation, we have the rating shown on each card too, and here are all the places we've visited too. Here are the foods we've tried on the trip. Here's the itinerary only showing up until day 5 and the expenses of the itinerary. Below is the budget, and as you can see here below, we didn't go over our budget. Next are the journal entries and the memories. As you can see, it doesn't consist of many images because these are only the most important ones. Keep in mind that all the images are sorted by date, but if you wish to move something around, just drag it to wherever you want it to go. Be careful not to move it around like this towards the edges, or else this will happen. If it does, just click Ctrl-Z to undo. Rather do it like this or in the middle. When moving it, this will come up. So remember, just click Don't Remove. Last but not least, if you open Italy in the country section, you'll see that everything we added to the trip has automatically appeared here. Trips, cities, places, food, and accommodation. You don't need to add them manually. The same applies to all the other pages in the navigation, but I won't go into that now since this video is already so long. And that wraps up our tour of the Notion Travel Planner. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this guide helpful and are excited to start planning your next adventure. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear how you're planning to use this template. If you're ready to get organized and make your travels stress-free, you can grab the template through the link below. And if you want more tips and tools for your travel needs, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.